What's going on, everyone? This is going to be your half kneeling hip flexor stretch. So in this position, I'm going to start off in my half kneeling position. All that means is I'm going to take one foot in front of me. Back foot is going to have a nice and grounded shin. I don't want to have a spiked toe. I want to be able to drive the top of my foot as well as the front of my shin down into the ground. In doing so, that's going to help target activation through my quadriceps as I'm facilitating the stretch here, right? So it's going to feel real nice. So from here, a couple things we want to be mindful of. We want to ensure that we have a pelvic neutral position, right? The nice thing about this position is it kind of already sets you there, but we want to be mindful that we're not going into an anterior pelvic tilt where we start compressing our lumbar. So be very mindful of that, right? So the cues here that I like to use is I like to say, think of it as if you have a pail of water on your hips. If I go into an anterior tilt, I'm spilling the water. I want you to think about keeping the water. Another good cue here is think of it as if you have a tail. I want you to think about tucking that tail between your legs. That's going to be pelvic neutral. So from here, I'm going to go into that half kneeling position. I'm going to drive that shin back into the ground. Be mindful if you have a hard surface or if your knee's a little sensitive, place a towel or something soft to give yourself that little support under the knee that you need, right? And then from here, I'm driving that shin down into the ground. All I'm doing from this position is I'm going to rock forward. I'm going to rock back. I want to be mindful when I rock forward, I'm not rocking, again, from my low back. I'm not bucking up through my rib cage where I'm just creating excessive shearing and compression onto my lumbar spine, right? So rib cage is going to be stacked, that diaphragm and pelvic floor in alignment here. And then from here, all I'm doing is I'm rocking forward. Little pressure on, should feel a nice stretch through my quadriceps, nice activation by driving that shin to the ground, and pressure off. Nice, slow, steady cadence, right? So something like this. Pressure on, and then pressure off. If I want to get a little more into it, a little more aggressive, right, what I can do is I can use my hand, I can place it right on my buttocks, and then as I lever forward, I'm pushing this hand into my hip to give myself a little bit more opening into that front hip flexor. So again, pressure on, pressure off. Pressure on, and pressure off. Another idea that we can do is we can start to integrate the fascial system, just going nice and overhead, get a nice long reach on that same side, and now I'm getting that entire stretch to this whole lateral fascial line. And then same thing here, pressure on, pressure off. I can use that opposite hand, lever it, give myself a little bit more, pressure on, pressure off, right? Through the entire duration of this stretch, you should be feeling it in that hip flexor, right? Nothing in the low back. You shouldn't be getting tension into your neck. Nice, big belly breaths, utilizing that diaphragm. You should have a nice, good elongation and activation through that hip flexor that both facilitates restoration through a lengthening, stretching, but also targeted activation, sort of integrating that PNF technique, proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. So give this one a try. Do however many sets and reps are prescribed in your specific program, and I hope you find this helpful.